A tale of betrayal and revenge. In the early days of 1995, the residents of Hon H City, Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, were abuzz with discussions about a massacre that occurred in a prominent local official's family. 4 members of this family tragically lost their lives simultaneously. This case took over a year to be successfully resolved. Once the details were made public, many conflicting opinions arose. Stay tuned to this video to uncover the story behind today's case that we're about to bring to you. Hello. Welcome to the Whisper of the Moonlight channel. On the afternoon of January 19, 1995, the Hon H City Police Department received a report from the Inner Mongolia Forestry Academy. The report stated that Mr. Bao Thien Son, 56 years old, deputy chairman of the academy, his wife, Hon H, 49 years old, their second son, Bao Yongfu, 21 years old, a forestry police officer, and their daughter, Bao Yuanfang, 17 years old, a student at high school number 35, were all found dead in their home under horrifying circumstances. After receiving the report, the Criminal Investigation Brigade of the City Office, the Criminal Investigation Brigade of the Xinjiang Branch, and technical personnel from the police department immediately arrived at the scene. At the scene, authorities found 4 bodies in different locations, all covered in blood. 3 of the 4 victims were lying face up in a bedroom, while the head of the household, Mr. Bao Thien Son, was found face down in front of the bathroom door. To preserve the crime scene, the authorities quickly established barricades and formed a special task force to urgently begin a detailed on-site investigation and collect evidence. The person who discovered the incident was Bao Thien Son's eldest son, Bao Thien Son. He recounted, around 2 p.m. that day, after returning from an errand outside, he smelled a strong stench of blood as he approached the porch. Confused about what had happened, Thien Son hurried inside and was stunned to find his parents and siblings dead. The house looked as though it had been bathed in blood. Thien Son's screams quickly drew the attention of nearby neighbors. While they tried to calm him down, how could he possibly stay composed in the face of such a tragic sight? He could only run to each family member, hugging them and crying. Meanwhile, the neighbors assisted Thien Son in reporting the case to the police. The crime scene was a house with 4 bedrooms and a living room. The house had several doors, including a wooden front door and 2 windows, all of which remained intact. The main door of the house faced west. Upon entering, there was a large living room with a dining table on the north side. To the east of the living room were 2 opposing bedrooms. Bao Thien Son told the police, the bedroom on the north side belonged to his younger sister, Bao Yuanfang. The room was relatively tidy, showing no signs of disturbance. His parents' bedroom was on the south side. The furniture in this room had been ransacked. Police observed that one cabinet door was ajar, and clothes were strewn across the bed and floor. On a small wooden table in the room, the police also discovered a rifle, a men's wallet, and a camera on the floor. There was a cartridge box with only 1 bullet left inside. 3 of the victims, including the wife and 2 children of the homeowner, Bao Thien Son, were found lying on their backs in the bedroom shared by Thien Son and Fu. All were covered with separate blankets. Only the homeowner, Bao Thien Son, was found deceased in the bathroom, lying face down. A preliminary observation revealed that all 4 victims had been shot in the head. Bao Thien Son and his son, Bao Yongfu, each received 2 shots. At the scene, there were no signs of a struggle between the perpetrator and the victims, likely because the bullets traveled too fast for anyone to react in time. An examination of the rifle showed no fingerprints from the suspect. This suggests that the perpetrator deliberately cleaned the scene after committing the crime to avoid leaving any evidence. No bloody footprints were found on the floor. On the contrary, there were several streaks on the ground, resembling marks made by a mop. Although the bedroom shared by Bao Thien Son and his younger brother Bao Yongfu showed signs of being searched, a large amount of cash in the drawer remained untouched. On the balcony of the house, there was a dog that had been locked up and fortunately survived. Valuable assets such as jewelry and cash were largely intact. Therefore, the police speculated that the perpetrator's intent was not robbery. The ransacked appearance of the scene was likely staged to mislead the investigation. The police handling the case also concluded that the suspect was a cunning criminal. The act of staying behind to clean the scene after committing the crime indicates an extremely steady state of mind. The crime was likely premeditated, and the perpetrator's primary goal was not theft, but rather the targeted elimination of the members of Bao Wenxiang's family. Currently, the police are puzzled about whether the primary targets of the killer were the homeowner Bao Wenxiang and his son Bao Yongfu, as both were shot twice, more than the other victims. Could this indicate that the killer's main objectives were Wenxiang and Yongfu? After completing the on-site investigation, it became evident that the clues left by the perpetrator at the scene were scarce, making the investigation challenging. Since the house's doors showed no signs of damage, the police speculated that the perpetrator might be an acquaintance of the family. From there, the police swiftly launched an investigation into the social relationships of each family member, particularly focusing on the homeowner Bao Wenxiang and his son Bao Yongfu. A special task force comprising 100 officers from the Forestry Academy conducted extensive inquiries about the 4 victims, interviewing 425 people, including relatives, friends, and neighbors who regularly interacted with the Bao family. Following the autopsy, the time of death for all the victims was determined to be January 18. Forensic doctors noted an unusual detail on the body of the 17-year-old female victim, Bao Yuanfang. The victim's vaginal opening appeared abnormally wide, and her hymen was torn, resembling signs of repeated sexual activity. However, no traces of male semen were found in the vaginal area. Bao Thien Son told the police that his younger sister had a promiscuous lifestyle. She frequently went out and associated with many male friends, some of whom were older. Her behavior had been a point of contention within the family multiple times. During the process of gathering information, the police discovered that Bao Wenxiang had a notorious reputation. He often caused conflicts with others. Friends and neighbors who were acquainted with Wenxiang were only socially polite to him and not genuinely close. After Wenxiang's death, many people even speculated that heaven has eyes, suggesting he should have been punished long ago. Wenxiang was very greedy and looked down on those with less financial means. Additionally, he was known as a womanizer, even pursuing a girl the same age as his own child. A colleague of Wenxiang revealed that he often abused his position as vice president of the academy to make things difficult for his subordinates, scolding them whenever he felt irritable. The police investigated individuals who had significant conflicts with Wenxiang. While these individuals indeed harbored resentment towards him, none of them appeared to have a motive strong enough to murder all 4 family members. However, during the extended investigation, the police identified a suspect who had once explicitly declared his desire to kill Bao Wenxiang's entire family. This man was named Ouyang Cheng. Previously, he served as the secretary of a township in Wulan Sabu County. At that time, Bao Wenxiang was the county party secretary of Wulan Sabu, making him Ouyang Cheng's superior. The conflict between the two stemmed from an incident involving one of Cheng's friends. Ouyang Cheng's friend was named Wang Zibin. Zibin was a major businessman from Zhejiang who came to Wulan Sabu to invest in business ventures. Zibin and Cheng were the same age, shared similar personalities, and frequently gathered to drink together. One day, while heavily intoxicated, Cheng started sharing his negative life experiences. Ouyang Cheng's wife had fallen ill and had to undergo a hysterectomy. After the surgery, Cheng's wife always felt insecure about herself, and their marital intimacy was no longer smooth as before, leaving Cheng feeling very frustrated and irritated. Hearing his close friend complain, Wang Zibin assured him there was nothing to worry about. He offered to introduce his beautiful secretary to Cheng. Cheng had seen this secretary before and found her quite attractive, which lifted his spirits. The next day, Wang Zibin sent his secretary to meet Ouyang Cheng. After a few days of being together, Cheng's wife eventually discovered her husband's affair, leading to a heated argument. Cheng, however, refused to leave his mistress, prompting his wife to report the matter to the county party secretary of Wulan Sabu, Bao Wenxiang. In truth, Bao Wenxiang's personal life wasn't much better than his subordinates. He was also fond of drinking, prostitution, and gambling. If Ouyang Cheng had many flaws, Bao Wenxiang could even be considered the master of them all. However, because of his high-ranking position, all his misdeeds were carefully concealed. Bao Wenxiang continued his indulgent lifestyle without anyone daring to expose his true self. After receiving the report about his subordinate's misconduct, Wenxiang appeared furious and vowed to enforce the law impartially. Due to Yang Cheng's scandal damaging the organization, Wenxiang directly declared Cheng's dismissal and recommended his expulsion from the party. After losing his job, Yang Cheng also lost his wife and the trust of those around him. His life felt as if it had fallen into an abyss. Cheng couldn't accept this reality. He wanted to expose Bao Wenxiang's vices so that Wenxiang would also suffer the same misery as him. At times, when drunk, Cheng would wander the streets, declaring that one day he would kill Bao Wenxiang's entire family to avenge his misfortunes. Fortunately, Cheng later received help from his close friend Wang Zibin. With Wang's assistance, Cheng opened a nightclub in Hohhot. The business thrived, and over time, Cheng became a prominent businessman, building a reputable name in the area. However, after Yang Cheng settled in Hohhot, Bao Wenxiang's family also moved there. The two encountered each other several times. During the investigation, it was revealed that after Wenxiang moved to Hohhot, he had proactively sought out Cheng to apologize. Gradually, the two reconciled and bridged their differences. Neighbors reported that on the afternoon of January 18th, they saw Yang Cheng visiting Bao Wenxiang's house. Cheng stated that he went there to drink wine but insisted he had nothing to do with the murder since their past conflicts had already been resolved. After re-examining the crime scene, police eventually discovered Cheng's fingerprints on a water glass at Wenxiang's home. The police were convinced that Cheng's claims couldn't be trusted, as he was now the most likely suspect with a compelling motive for the crime. They believed Cheng had intentionally gone to Wenxiang's house to drink, taking advantage of the situation to murder the entire family. It was not without reason that the police were suspicious. Yang Cheng claimed that on the afternoon of January 18th, after drinking at Bao Wenxiang's house, he went straight back to his own home. Cheng currently lived alone, with no one to provide an alibi for him at that time. Cheng's statement clearly failed to convince the police, but the Hohhot police also lacked substantial evidence to charge him. As a result, they sought the assistance of experts from the Beijing Municipal Police Department to conduct a lie detector test on Yang Cheng. The results of the polygraph test placed Cheng in an unfavorable position. Although he continued to deny any involvement, the police decided to detain him. However, after some time, Cheng was released as authorities concluded that the case required further investigation to gather more clues. This delay caused the case to stagnate. A year passed, but the case remained unsolved. In 1996, China launched a campaign to resolve pending cases. Naturally, a massacre as heinous as this one drew significant attention from authorities. The Hohhot police force reinforced their team with additional personnel and received support from renowned criminal investigation experts across the country. Finally, after numerous discussions, they uncovered a detail that had been overlooked in the earlier investigation. This very detail became the key to solving the case. The authorities meticulously reviewed the case files, analyzed the crime scene, conducted thorough research, and outlined potential hypotheses. Suspicion arose when all individuals who had conflicts with the Bao family were gradually eliminated as suspects. At this point, all suspicion shifted to the person who discovered the crime, Bao Wenxiang's eldest son, Bao Thien Son. During the Special Task Force's meeting on June 15, police officers expressed their opinions based on the prior investigation and research. After much deliberation, they finally reached a consensus and raised several key suspicions about Bao Thien Son. The first suspicion was that during the crime scene inspection, neither the front door nor the windows showed signs of forced entry. This indicated that the perpetrator had entered the house quite naturally. According to the investigation, an employee of the Forestry Academy accompanied Bao Wenxiang home after work. They parted ways right at the gate of Wenxiang's house. The colleague confirmed that no one else was seen following their superior. Thus, the hypothesis was formed that the killer had been hiding in Bao Wenxiang's house beforehand. The Bao family consisted of 5 members, but only the eldest son, Bao Thien Son, survived. When asked where he had been before discovering the incident, Bao Thien Son hesitated before replying that he had gone to a friend's house for a few days. This hesitation led the police to start forming suspicions about Bao Thien Son. The time of the crime was confirmed to be between 5 o'clock and 6 p.m. on January 18, 1995. From 3:30 to 6:30 p.m., no one could account for Bao Thien Son's whereabouts. In other words, no one could prove that he was not at the scene of the crime during that time. Therefore, Bao Thien Son had ample time to commit the crime. Suspicion number 3. Bao Thien Son grew up at his grandmother's house and lacked parental affection. He had a poor relationship with his father from a young age. Thien Son once took over the operation of a cafeteria and secretly borrowed 20,000 yuan to pay off debts. Due to poor management skills, the business suffered heavy losses, leaving him in financial hardship without support from his family. The relationship deteriorated further, which could be seen as a motive for Bao Thien Son to commit the crime. Suspicion number 4. The Bao family had a dog. If a stranger approached the house, it would undoubtedly bark. However, according to neighbors, on the day of the incident, no one heard the dog bark. This indicated that the perpetrator was undoubtedly someone familiar with the Bao family and had a close relationship with them. Bao Thien Son, being a family member, was surely recognized by the dog. The dog would not bark, instead, it might even wag its tail in delight. Suspicion number 5. Friends of the victim, Bao Yongfu, stated that around 5:40 p.m. on January 18, while playing soccer together, Fu received a call from his older brother, Bao Thien Son, asking him to return home and prepare dinner because Thien Son was busy and couldn't make it back. As soon as Fu arrived home, he was murdered. Clearly, the phone call was part of Thien Son's plot. Suspicion number 6. The bedroom of the victim, Bao Wenxiang, was the most chaotic room and had the highest number of fingerprints belonging to Bao Thien Son. While it is natural for family members' fingerprints to be found in the house, the strained relationship between father and son makes the presence of Thien Son's fingerprints in his father's bedroom particularly suspicious. Suspicion number 7. The killer used the Bao family's rifle. Typically, the rifle was stored in a cabinet, and the bullets were kept in a drawer in Bao Wenxiang's bedroom. The perpetrator retrieved the weapon from the house, indicating familiarity with the location of the gun and ammunition. Bao Thien Son fits this criterion. Suspicion number 8. On the day the incident was reported, when the police arrived, Bao Thien Son held the rifle with both hands. He reported the case to the Forestry Academy's Security Bureau with a sorrowful and trembling demeanor, saying, "The killer used this rifle to murder 4 members of my family. After on-site investigations and forensic testing, it was confirmed that all members of the Bao family were killed with a rifle." However, it had not been verified whether the murders were committed with the Bao family's rifle. How could an ordinary person like Bao Thien Son be so certain? Furthermore, Thien Son appeared extremely sorrowful and unsteady, almost collapsing but being supported. Yet, in the days following, his demeanor quickly returned to normal, almost as if he were acting. Although all primary suspicions point to Bao Thien Son, it is still not possible to confirm him as the killer due to a lack of clear evidence. The police officers are currently dealing with a highly complex and perplexing murder case. If the killer is Bao Thien Son, could it be that he was so resentful over trivial grievances with his father that he mercilessly murdered all 4 family members, including his mother and siblings, at once? The on-site investigation results fail to explain the killer's motive. The clues in this case remain extremely unclear. Although Bao Thien Son is currently under suspicion, the police are unable to take any action against him due to the lack of incriminating evidence. Furthermore, nearly a year and a half has passed since the incident occurred, which makes it significantly harder to collect evidence from the crime scene. Additionally, it is challenging to assert that Bao Thien Son is the perpetrator from both emotional and logical perspectives. How could a son kill his parents and massacre his younger siblings? Such an act is against morality. Moreover, even if there was a rift between father and son, why would he also harm his mother and siblings? Typically, perpetrators tend to flee after committing a crime. If Bao Thien Son were indeed the murderer, why did he not try to escape? Why would he go so far as to actively report the crime himself? Wouldn't he fear that even a small mistake might expose him and lead to his immediate arrest by the police? From the above arguments, some members of the investigative team believe that claiming Bao Thien Son as the murderer is unreasonable. As time goes on, the special task force is under immense pressure and facing severe criticism from the public. With 4 out of 5 members of the Bao family deceased, making a mistake would render the police unable to face the public. If someone is suspected but cannot be convicted due to insufficient evidence, the police would find themselves in a predicament. Criticisms such as, 4 members of the Bao family are dead, and now you're using their only surviving son to quickly wrap up the case, how cruel. Or, the police can't solve the case and are impatiently forcing their son to confess. These opposing opinions have put local law enforcement in a difficult position. If the murderer is not Bao Thien Son but someone else who has disappeared without a trace and the police fail to identify them, the case will go down in history as an unsolved mystery, with its secrets buried forever. The immense pressure and significant risks had prevented the Special Task Force from making a decisive move to enforce coercive measures against suspect Bao Thien Son. On June 17, 1996, the city leadership team and city police leadership convened to hear a comprehensive report on the massacre case. They also invited leaders from the city procuratorate and the People's Court to participate in the review. The participants conducted thorough discussions based on the suspicions raised by the task force and expressed their opinions from different perspectives. Deputy Leader Wang and the city police leadership affirmed their support for any decision made by the task force. The director of the city police office stated, "This case has caused significant social repercussions. While caution is necessary, as police officers, our top priority is to protect the people and combat crime. We must apply coercive measures to a suspect with substantial suspicions." Ultimately, the meeting concluded with a decision to identify Bao Thien Son as the primary suspect in the case. Deputy Leader Wang made the decision on the spot, instructing immediate implementation of coercive measures and a surprise interrogation of Bao Thien Son. On June 19, the city police deployed officers to conduct an unexpected interrogation of Bao Thien Son. By 11:40 p.m. the same day, Bao Thien Son's mental defenses began to crumble. At 1:20 a.m. on June 20, Bao Thien Son confessed to all his criminal acts. Bao Thien Son grew up in his grandmother's house. He always had a poor relationship with his parents and was frequently subjected to their scolding and beatings. At the age of 11, Bao Thien Son accidentally witnessed his father often flirting with the housemaid. They had sexual relations in the room whenever Son's mother was not at home. At that time, Son somewhat realized that his father's actions were wrong, so he told his mother. Unexpectedly, he was brutally beaten by his father for being a tattletale. Son's mother had always been submissive to her husband. She saw her son being beaten like that but could not defend him or take any protective actions. This incident created an indelible shadow in Bao Thien Son's mind. He believed that his father was a bad man, and his mother was too weak. Later, Bao Thien Son discovered an even bigger secret about his father. One night, while heading to the bathroom and passing by his younger sister's room, Bao Thien Son heard strange noises coming from her room. It turned out that his father was abusing his younger sister. Son grew even angrier and immediately told his mother what he had seen. To his shock, his mother was not angry but instead grabbed him and said, "Son, what has happened must not be told to anyone. Your younger sister is actually the illegitimate child of your father and his mistress, not your biological sibling. I cannot let outsiders know all of your father's wrongdoings. This family would be ruined." Son could not believe that, when faced with such a cruel husband, his mother could still endure it. His father was barbaric, and his mother not only failed to side with justice but also covered for him. Son tried to protect his sister, but she might have become numb and no longer cared about it. Additionally, between Son and his siblings, their parents always favored the younger ones more. As he grew up, Son received no financial support from his family. While running a canteen, Son borrowed 20,000 yuan to pay off a mortgage without informing his parents. Due to poor management, his business failed, and with no help from his family, Son conceived the idea of killing the 4 family members to take control of the property and money. At 3:30 p.m. on January 18, 1995, Bao Thien Son returned home. He envisioned a murder plan and finally decided to use his father's rifle, hiding to facilitate the crime. Around 5:20, Son's father came home and noticed the bathroom light was still on. Mr. Tuong walked past the bedroom and headed to the bathroom door. At this moment, Son, hiding on top of the closet, shot his father with one bullet. After he fell motionless, Son shot him again. Around 5:40, his mother returned home and was also shot dead. At approximately 5:50, his younger sister, Bao Thien Son, came home and noticed the light in Son's bedroom. Just as she opened the door and stepped inside, she was shot. Son then called his younger brother, Bao Vin Phu, telling him that he wouldn't be home that night and asking Phu to return quickly to cook dinner. Bao Vin Phu met the same tragic fate. The bodies of his mother and siblings were moved by Son to his bedroom and covered with blankets. After committing the murders, Bao Thien Son washed the rifle in the bathroom, used a mop to clean the floor, backed out of the house, and locked the door before leaving the scene. After that, he rode his bike to his grandmother's house. His grandmother was old and senile, so she couldn't notice anything. By 2 p.m. on the 19th, Son pretended to return home and discovered that his family had been murdered. The killer, appearing grief-stricken, reported the incident to the security office of the Forestry Academy. Regarding the issue of Bao Thien Son, in reality, she was not as virtuous as Son previously claimed. The abnormalities on her body were actually caused by the abuse inflicted by her father. On June 20, 1996, Bao Thien Son was officially detained. Son seemed to have anticipated the outcome, so he remained calm. After the incident, Son did not flee because he believed that fleeing would make him a suspect. Ironically, while hiding in plain sight, Son remained nearby, yet the authorities did not recognize the enemy among them. However, over the past year, Bao Thien Son's life had been anything but easy. He lived in constant torment, fear, guilt, and regret, teetering on the edge of a mental breakdown. Son confessed that if he could turn back time, he would never have done such foolish things. Now, the story has finally reached its conclusion, and he is about to be freed from his torment. On July 10, the Intermediate People's Court of Hon H sentenced Bao Thien Son to death. In his final statement before the court, Son said, "I will not appeal. I admit my guilt, and I only hope that the law will punish me as harshly as possible, as soon as possible." The massacre was finally resolved. With 4 lives taken, Bao Thien Son undoubtedly received the highest sentence, the death penalty. This case leaves us with much to reflect on, particularly the hidden truths within the victim's family. Thankfully, no miscarriage of justice occurred, and the law fairly punished the right person for the crime. What do you think about the perpetrator in today's case? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and let us know. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Whispers Off the Moonlight for more intriguing cases from around the world.